Hi folks, it's been lockdown time. While ironically, there has been a lot of unlocking which we all must be experiencing. Being at home for such a long period of time, I think this is one such rare occasion which would have come in everybody's life. And so the lockdown would unlock a lot of stuff which could be in the form of you discovering what you have been observing but could not discover, you exploring what you've been thinking but you could not explore, and you must be getting into interesting dialogues and conversation with people around. And it's been an unlocking time, though it's a lockdown time. And one of the things which I have been doing all these days is trying to catch up with a lot of pending reading, a lot of books which I've bought and I've not been able to do justice with all purchases. So I have been trying to catch up with my pending reading, and I've been sharing my experiences of the books with people through my channel. So once again, welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to share with you today another interesting, powerful book, and the name of the book is Factfulness. As the name of the book suggests, that look, it's a book about the way we look at facts. Are we factful or are we factless? And if we are factless, how does it impact our understanding and interpretation of the reality vis-a-vis when we are factful? So the book talks about 10 instincts which we generally have in our behavior and in our approach or our disposition, and we look at a particular set of data with reference to those instincts which are there. Okay, so the author of the book is Hans Rosaling, who has a very interesting career, a statistician, and who's also a doctor, someone who has traveled not only in the US and all those good countries, but someone who has gone to the countries in deep Africa, south of Sahara, and try to relate with the realities down the line there. Okay, someone who has traveled in Middle East. So I think he very extensively traveled person with a very varied interest and a very different type of intellect, with which this book is, I think, a summary or a gist of the richness of experience of the Hans, and the book is definitely a powerful book. And what makes this book more relevant to all of us is that, look, on a day-to-day basis, when we are in the organization, irrespective of what function are we in or what vertical we work for or which organization we work for, some organizations are more data oriented, some organizations are less data oriented. But when we are talking in terms of the business, we talk about numbers, and the book also talks about numbers. Okay, but interestingly, the author has made a statement twice or thrice in the book where he says that you cannot look at world without the numbers. I repeat, you cannot look at world without numbers, but you cannot look at world with numbers alone. So it's a game which is of knowing the numbers and understanding the numbers. Okay, so the numbers alone is not sufficient. Okay, so the book is stating the different type of instinct. So for example, we have this tendency to be more towards negative aspect of the data. Okay, we have this tendency of fear instinct, where we have certain fear and then we look at data from that fear instinct. Okay, we have this tendency of gap look, like this side is we guys and that side is they guys, or those people. Okay, so there's a gap. Okay, while it's not about the two extremes, but it's also about a lot of majority which is there in between. Okay, how averages which we see on a day-to-day basis in the organization, how they can distort the reality, and how changing the your axis or the way you plot the data on the axis and the way you overlap the data. Okay, so from an average, if you go into the range, the reality could become different. Okay, so the book has got multiple example where what appears to be as a reality is not the truth. Okay, while truth is something else. So 10 instincts through which we see data, and So you have negativity, you have fear, you have gap, you have straight line. Okay, so he says that, look, we have a tendency to look at data or the reality in a straight line method. Okay, that look, if it is going like this, it is going like this, it will go like this. No, the reality doesn't unfold like this. So there he says that, look, there could be a bell curve sort of a thing. He says, look, there could be a slide, and there could be, he says, there could be a hump. And so the same reality can be looked at in a different way, instead of getting driven by the instinct of straight line. Okay, so it doesn't happen straight line. And then it talks about the size related bias or instinct. So forgive me for using the word bias, because the author does not use the word bias, but then out of my other readings, I am able to relate what Robert Greene talks about bias, or what other authors talk about bias. I think he has used the word instinct, because it's more natural to us when we say that anything which is instinctive, it's happening natural to us, and we are unaware of it because it is very natural to us. Okay, so that's where the book brings a different dimension to all of us, that look, these 10 biases, whether it is size, fear, and those 10, you can definitely refer them in the book. I don't want to give you the details of the different biases, but the fact is that, look, a powerful stuff, very analytical stuff, full of data and full of learning for all of us who deal with the data on a day-to-day basis and make major decisions about business. Be careful of these instincts, and when you take a decision or when you look at data, I'm sure the book would definitely bring a very, very different dimensions and very, very different way of looking at the data and understanding the reality, and become more factful. Read this book, Factfulness, and I'll come back to you with another book which would be very relevant with this type of a context which we are in. And this is going to be a book by Bertrand Russell, a philosopher who has written a book in praise of idleness. So ladies and gentlemen, we discuss this book, could be tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Take care of yourself and stay factful. Don't get influenced by the distorted reality which sometimes WhatsApp and other media is trying to throw. So be responsible, be careful, and stay happy, stay safe. Bye bye. Jai Ho.